Greetings and happy Monday. Mrs. Reeves here with your week 5 intro video. Today is Monday, May 11th, 2020, and let's get going. I decided to start my video today walking you through where and how to find all the information that is on Google Classroom that you need for your assignments. If you already know how to do all of these things, then go ahead and skip to the part where I describe the assignments. Under the classwork tab, the first thing you see is information. And that information section gives you all the information that we have provided for you throughout the year, I guess, is in the distant learning year. So the last 5 weeks, all sorts of information there. Okay. Below that, you get to the schedule section, which is just that. It has the schedules for the weeks. So here's number 5, week 5 for this week. So you click on it. Let's click on the grid and go to it so you can take a look at what we have this week. So let's come back into Google Classroom. So that is under schedules. And we scroll down further and we get to week 5 social studies and week 5 language arts. So let's take a look at assignment number 1. We have right here, we click on the assignment so we can thoroughly read the instructions. It says here, read or listen to Chapter 8, Sections 1.1 to 3.2 in your online textbook. Answer the following questions in complete sentences using race, restating the question, so using that quanser. Answer the question, cite your source, which in this case would be the page number from the book, and explain your answer, so giving detail or defining new words, things like that. You're also using caps. You're capitalizing the appropriate words. You're making sure that your words are in the proper order so the sentences make sense. You're checking that your punctuation is proper. So you always capitalize the beginning of a sentence. You always put a period at the end of a sentence. And then you capitalize names. So that could be names of cities, countries, states, people, oceans, that kind of stuff, okay? And you put punctuation where it belongs. So if you have a list of things, you're putting commas in that list. And then you're checking your spelling. You can use spell check. Very simple way of checking your spelling. Okay, don't just look for the squiggly line. Go up to tools and click on spell check and actually have your spelling checked that way. So here's an example of how an answer should look. For this one, what are the 3 largest indigenous groups in South America? Your little hint is it's found in section 1.1. Here's your quanser. Here's restating the question. The 3 largest indigenous groups in South America are, then you name it. There's a comma because it's a list. Name it, comma, and name it, and then you see the period at the end. I found this information on page and put the page number. Okay, that's what your answer should look like. You're always restating the question. You're always citing the page number, and then you're answering. Let's go back, and we'll take a look at assignment 2 real quick about the Mapuche. So in this one, okay, you have some instructions you need to read, but in this one, you're going to have an article to read and a video to watch. And then you will be answering the questions. So taking a look at the questions ahead of time might be important, and then you can take notes while you're reading or watching the video, or you could pause the video or pause your reading to answer the questions as you go along, whatever works best for you. Instructions here say, as a young boy, Neftali is aware of the ill treatment of the Mapuche people who live alongside him. The Mapuche play an important role in the novel The Dreamer and in how Neftali ultimately stands up to his father. After reading the article and viewing the video to gain an understanding of the history of the Mapuche, answer the 5 questions below in complete sentences using COPS and race. Okay. Who are the Mapuche people? We have a sentence starter for the first one. The Mapuche people are, and then you're going to fill that in. So again, restating that question. So make sure you restate. Okay. 2 examples. Make sure you give 2 examples. So facts. So you're citing multiple facts about the Mapuche culture. So make sure you read your questions thoroughly. That's number 2. Number 3 is you get to plan a vacation. Okay, so these instructions are also on the assignment. So let's click on the assignment so you can take a look at the instructions. So you're building a 4-column chart on 4 countries in South America. That's the first thing you're going to do. So if you haven't already done it, you'll be reading or listening to Chapter 8, Sections 1.3 and 2.2 to 3.3 in your online textbook. Using the information in the textbook and the internet, so you can use the internet if you want, write down or type interesting facts about each country listed that you think could attract tourists. Write at least 4 facts about each country in detail. More are welcome. Write in complete sentences and cite your sources, so page number and website, using COPS, again, capitalization, order, punctuation, spelling. When explaining something, make sure you define a word. If you don't know what it means, assume that other people don't know what it means. Write in your own words. Do not copy word for word from the book or the internet. I want you to write in your own words, please. Below, I have an example here for Brazil. So you can see that I included an example right here. The Brazilian soccer or football team is very popular and often goes to the World Cup. And there I found that on page 221 of the textbook. If you're going to print this out, you don't have a lot of space, so you might want to create your own hand-drawn one, or you can always do something like that before you print it out to make more space. Okay, I was just hitting return to make that happen. So, okay. When you are done, choose one of the 4 countries that you would like to visit and use the information you found, and maybe more if needed, to create a travel brochure. Okay, so you can pick one of these: Chile, Brazil, Argentina, or Peru to visit. So here are the instructions for the travel brochure. Okay, it says create an illustrated travel brochure for your country. You may use a computer if you know how to do that stuff, or you can hand draw it. Section out your paper or the page on the computer into 3 parts or columns. Use the example below as an outline for your brochure. Once complete, upload to Google Classroom. So I'm not going to go through each column, but it's pretty clear, especially when you use the example. Here's the example. Okay, so if you look up here, you have column 1. Column 1 would be this third of the paper. That's column 1. Column 2, column 3. All right. So you have your paper. Let's say these are the fold lines here. You fold here, you fold here. So that's what I'm looking for, something like this. And like I said, either you're creating it by hand and then you're sending me a really awesome quality picture or scanned copy of it so I can really take a look at all the awesome detail you're putting into it, or you create something like this on the computer that you upload onto Google Classroom. Up to you. But I have very specific instructions here of how you make that travel brochure, okay, using the example below. All right, we'll go back to Google Classroom. That's social studies for the week. For the dreamer, you have your tracks that you need to listen to, okay? Going in order. Make sure you go in order. All right? Listen to these tracks. These are 2 chapters worth, okay? And then you have your assignment that goes along with it. All right? Same thing you've been doing every week. You're restating that question, right? You're giving detail. You're answering all parts of the question, okay? If there's multiple questions within the question, you're answering all of those. Super important stuff, that you're following directions exactly, so you're not getting them returned, because it really is wasting your time and my time, but it's wasting your time when you have to do something multiple times instead of doing it right the first time. Okay, so here is the writing prompt. Write a short essay explaining the ways you feel like you have changed since you started middle school. These changes can be personality, friends, outlook like on life or the world itself, physical changes, educational changes, and maybe likes and dislikes that have changed, or other things that you think of. That's what etc. means, other things. Your essay must include at least 8 detailed sentences broken into 2 paragraphs, but more are welcome. Comparisons between yourself at the beginning of the year versus now. Maybe it's things you've learned in your education, what you didn't know at the beginning of the year that you've learned now so far. Maybe it's something that you liked or didn't like at the beginning of the year that you like now, or maybe you've grown a lot. Maybe your friends have changed, whatever, but you're comparing those two. And then you're using COPS properly. Okay, so you have correct grammar and spelling. Make sure you reread your stuff. And since you're home and you're not surrounded by your peers, you can reread this out loud and make sure that it sounds correct, and then you can correct as you go along. I always read my emails, all my writings out loud because mistakes pop up to me that I might have not seen if I read silently. All right, and lastly, number 6 is the usual, but what I want to be very clear about. Okay, so here's these videos if you haven't watched them yet that tell you how to check out ebooks from the Springfield Public Library or from the Springfield Public Schools Library. Okay, so for the reading log, you are reading every day. That is the assignment, and that you're giving a summary of what you read that day. So it shouldn't be the same summary every day because you read something new every day. Okay? But what a lot of you have noticed are missing is not just the reading log, but you need to choose an activity from this reading response choice board that you turn in with your reading log at the end of the week. Choose one of these activities to do along with it. Some have links to go to, some just have descriptions. A lot of you are only doing the reading log and you're getting half credit, or you're getting less than half credit because you're not filling the reading log out every day. All right. All right. So that is your work for the week. Now, real quick, if you notice, you keep scrolling. There's week 4. There's week 3. So if you're behind, you can still access all the work that you need. Okie dokie. That is your work for the week. Do your best, and I know you can rock this stuff.